Welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and with me today is Benjamin Raye from the Everything Minnesota Music Radio Show on KFAI.
Yes, sir. Hi, Bubba. How are you?
I'm great, man. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I got the call sign right.
Absolutely. KFAI in Minneapolis. Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah, podcasters don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Right.
Well, Benjamin, thanks for being on the show today. I want you to give a little bit of your backstory, maybe before we start jumping into the shows that you have and what you're doing at the station. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your personal story? We don't have to go all the way back to birth or anything, but go ahead
Right.
and tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm a musician as well. I do live music mostly in the Twin Cities area, but spread out through Minnesota a little bit. Been doing that for a long time. Music since I was a young kid. Um, Play guitar, keys, do vocals. I got a band. I do solo stuff and duo stuff, so I stay busy with that. But also, as you mentioned, the radio thing. I've been doing the local music show on KFAI for 6 years now, and before that, I was doing a couple of other local shows. One on 93X in Minneapolis. I also did one at Bob FM in Minneapolis. So I've been doing a lot of radio stuff over the years. Still doing the local show. Plus, I'm on a rock station in St. Cloud. So yeah, you can't escape me if you try.
That's fantastic. So a lot of our listeners and a lot of our artists that have been on the show as well will be familiar with your voice. Obviously, we're the Bob FM is a huge station. So a lot of our Midwest Country Music Organization members have been in the studio and on some of the programming. Awesome, man. That's so cool that you've just been in this. And that's where it started for me, Benjamin. I am also a musician, a songwriter, and we don't have a lot of opportunities for local shows here in South Dakota on our stations. There's so few stations to begin with. Most of
Yeah.
them are running programming that is very, I mean, you know how it is. It's very automated these days, and there's not a lot of DJs in the first place. We're losing stations by the day, not just radio shows, but entire stations are essentially being let go just to plug in the AI automated kind of run of the mill top 40 stations, right? And it was that reason why a year ago I decided to start the Scene Projects. I released a song in February, and the media tour was over in the blink of an eye. I did I did one of the radio stations. I did our local news station as well, TV news station. And then I was on a couple of our podcasts, but then that was not just like all I could manage to, that was all there was.
Yeah.
So to meet people like you, obviously getting to work in a much bigger market, it just, we're trying to bring that back and then using our podcast to support you in any way that we can. And so happy to see that there's still stations out there that are supporting music with shows like yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, like you mentioned, and I should also plug. I said I worked at the rock station in St. Cloud. They do a local show too. It's on Sunday mornings, so there's another one up here. So yeah, it's something that I've liked to do for a long time is help out the local musicians because I am one, and so I
Right.
know, like you said, I know how hard it is to get that going. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, and go ahead and shout out. I know you said you had a band and everything. What's the name of your
yeah.
band?
So we go by Benjamin Raye and the Empire Players. Um,
Nice.
we're usually a four-piece. Sometimes we're a five-piece. It depends on the venue, and But yeah, we do a lot of covers, but we do throw some originals in there from time to time. We do every once in a while. We do all original shows too. But um, you know, the scenes we play at are a lot of the cover band stuff. But we
And
can we
me
can
as
mix in
well.
our
Right.
yeah,
And
exactly.
South Dakota is full of that. We got some great gigs and I know a lot of a lot of the gigs kind of get that. Well, we're doing the cover band thing and it's like, well, as long as you're confident taking your music out there, there's no reason that you can't be infusing your own music into your show. I've
Yes,
always done that. I just
yes.
don't have 4 hours of original music to play, and who would want to listen to that anyway?
Exactly. That's the whole thing. They come for, they want to hear the songs they know and love, but you can still throw a couple of yours in per set. And then they start learning your stuff too. And then they'll come up to you and start asking for it. And yeah, it works good.
And I think in this day and age that people want that people want
Yes.
that as well. But a lot of musicians have gotten it in their head that, well, nobody wants to listen and learn about my music or me anyway. It's like, well, if they didn't like you, they wouldn't be at your show to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And that's what we do. I mean, like I say, we'll do a 4 hour show, and we'll play mostly covers, but we'll do a couple originals per set. And I've actually had people come up to me the next time at the same venue, and they say, "Hey, that one of your originals that you played last week, can you do that one again?" And it's like, there you go, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly, exactly. Ben, it's like we're twins.
Okay. Well, what do they call it? Doppelganger or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, doppelganger is more a look-alike. I think
That's
we are
true. That's true.
the fraternal. I think they
There you
call it
go.
when you don't look alike, but you're in the same spirit. Twins
Yes.
of the spirit. I think the kids
Kindred
call it a
spirits.
twin flame.
There you go.
I just love it, man. Now, have you ever converted any of these programs into a podcast?
No, I have not. I was offered one just the other day, actually, from a station up near Brainerd, but at the moment I'm so busy with my live music shows and with the other two radio things I'm doing. So
Right. Well, and you're obviously live. Is it a live show that you're doing?
no, no, they are. So technically, I mean, they
They
archive
are
the
a
show.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just don't handle that end, but KFAI stores them all on the website. So
Interesting.
that's nice. You can go back
Let's
and listen
talk
to
off
them.
camera more about this because I'm
Yeah.
interested. If you're doing a taped show, we have an outlet and a broadcast channel already set up.
Okay.
And so many of our artists are up in that Minnesota area. And that's what
I
I've been
like it.
looking to do. So much of what I heard in because I moved to the eastern side of the South Dakota about 5 years ago. And I had been a big part of the Black Hills music scene on the other side of the other side of the state. Had kind of gone away at different points, but I've always been connected. Everybody knows me, I would say, across the entire state of South Dakota. And that was before I had the podcast. So I kind of looking for other creators and other people that are supporting and trying to bring them together under one umbrella. And one thing that everyone in Sioux Falls said, well, yeah, there's great players everywhere, and you got some really good bands, and you got good gigs, but there's no scene, and
Yeah.
we don't have a local art magazine anymore. We had one that was statewide called Panache, and that went away. Oh, it's probably been 10 or 15 years ago.
Wow.
And since then, there's been nothing to fill that space. Now, I'm in talks with some good friends that are also based in Minnesota. I want to shout out Kelly Wagner with the Edge magazine. And they are more holistic health and wellness stuff. But she's had an interest in, hey, we'd love to get a community calendar going on, and we would love to do a little bit more with the arts scene as well. So I know you guys have a couple of magazines up there that are kind of restarting. Obviously, COVID hit you guys in a much different way than here in South Dakota, and not
Yeah.
just in like a numbers game or anything, but we didn't shut down, right? We
Right.
did maybe 2 weeks, but we didn't stop going to work. We maybe stopped gigging for a few months, but by the time summer came around, we were fired right back up and rolling. And that has not been the case for much of the Minnesota music scene, where it feels like everyone is just kind of emerging now and coming out of the fear of just going out and being around other human beings. And now that everything's kind of wide open again, we have a cultural revolution, I feel like, happening in this country right now. Country music is huge,
Yeah.
and I feel like the rock music is because rock went through such it just got heavier and heavier and heavier, right? Like what I consider rock music, is now classic rock. All the 90s bands that I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
are
Love
on the
it.
classic rock stations.
Right.
But rock music just kind of went in that the heavier metal side. And not that I have anything wrong with that, but I miss the songwriting of obviously the classic rock, but 90s grunge, man. Some
Oh
great
yeah.
songwriters
No
in that
doubt.
time, right?
Chris Cornell, amazing.
Right,
Yeah.
Cornell and Alice in Chains
Yeah.
and Eddie Vedder. I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. Maybe we don't agree politically on a lot of things,
Right. Right.
but
Right.
I don't think we're supposed to. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we've forgotten in this country, and especially in a little bit more liberal areas, that hey, buddy, not everyone needs to think like you. And,
Yeah.
and we're not going to be dominated by just one way of thinking. There's not just one way of doing things. That's not how this country was founded in the first place.
Right. Well,
So
yeah. You mentioned.
musically, now there's no what's a genre anymore anyway.
I mean, it's a pretty big envelope these days. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned like the Eddie Vedder thing too. I mean, yeah. Politically, I think the guy's crazy, but Does that mean his music sucks? No, his music is good.
Oh my God, his
There's a lot
music
of great
changed my
programs.
life, right?
Right,
Not just
exactly.
as a young person. I'm 38, I'll be 39. So I mean, these were some of the first bands. I mean, I remember the first time hearing Even Flow and seeing the video and seeing
Yeah.
the video for Jeremy.
Oh, I
And
know.
I remember vividly the first time I heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge, right? And I want to
Yes.
share this story because it's so awesome that it was pouring down rain, Benjamin. I remember the rain was pouring down. I was in my mom's Ford Aerostar with her. We were driving down to her dad had a boat down on the river there on a slip, and he hung out at the marina all the time. That was his second home, right? All summer
Nice.
long. And I remember getting in and that first line, boom, down, 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 and it was just like, whoa, what is this? And I was maybe
Yeah.
8, 9 years old. This memory's now 30 years old, and I still get
Right.
chills. Still
I
get
know.
chills, man. Like, that's
That's
what music is supposed to be.
yeah.
Music is not background noise. It is meant to strike you to your soul. And I feel like in the last 20 years, as everything's just become cookie cutter, pop star after pop star, the business of the music industry completely took over, and great artists have been pushed aside. And I feel like with the advent of all of these streaming services, which we know aren't great for the money side of it for us,
Right.
but they've given us an outlet to put our music out there, sometimes absolutely for free.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt. Sometimes you have to. I mean, if or else you're playing to nobody, or you're recording for nobody. But sometimes, especially on the original side, every now and then you just have to play it, and then hopefully for you it grows. It's like you're planting a seed, and maybe it'll grow from there. And what can you do?
And so much of why I'm in music, I don't play music to get famous. I learned how to play guitar in my basement in my parents' house, and I wrote songs for me.
Yeah,
This was how I expressed me, and it was
yeah,
never about getting famous. I could care less.
yeah. I agree. I mean, when you're an artist, that's what you do. That is you. You write songs, and whether you ever do anything with them or not, it's still your song, and it's what you do.
Well, and it's the beauty of building a community when you're able to go out and share those songs and it resonates with people, and then they can go find you on YouTube or
Yeah,
Facebook or any of these things and become part of your world. And that's what I love to do, man. Making new friends. And that's why podcasting really became a great fit, right? Is that
yeah,
now all of a sudden where nobody really cared about Bubba the songwriter, all of a sudden now because I care about you, which I always did anyway, but now I have a channel to bring you on. And now we are changing people's lives because of the platform that we have. Now we're not getting massive views right now. I'm not even a year in, Benjamin. And
yeah,
and really just in the last 4 or 5 months is when we cranked up this content machine and got after it. We have almost 200 episodes out on our YouTube right now. We are not slowing down. I mean, my content calendar looks like this. And
yeah,
I'm posting more stuff in there because it's just like, man, I'm stacking up 2, 3 interviews a day. How are you only going to release one a week? I don't need to plan content out for 2 years. So
yeah.
we're really starting to crank up our machine and to do all of that. And I'd like to shift gears a little bit now to talk about obviously you and the Everything Minnesota Music Radio Show. Tell us a little bit about obviously the inspiration for it is obvious, but share a little bit more about the show with us.
Sure. So that was kind of born out of, like I said, I was doing the rock local music show on 93X in Minneapolis, and they're a corporate run station, big, one of the big, they were at the time the second biggest in the country. And you know how corporate radio goes, they got to make cuts. And I was one of them. So then I was like, okay, what do I do next? I was still, obviously writing music and still wanted to be in radio. And I thought, you know what, let's shop around, see what we've got available here. I'd still like to continue doing live local music on the radio. So then KFAI, I knew they've been around for a long time, and I knew they did everything. I mean, they got talk shows, they've got jazz shows, they've got classical shows, they've got gospel shows, they've got rock
Have they
shows.
remained independent as a station yet? So they're privately owned and not owned by a corporation?
They are owned by yeah, they're a 501c3. They're a
Oh,
nonprofits.
wow.
Yeah, and it's community radio, it's public radio, so you can be a member, and so it's not by any means corporate radio. So they are owned by, like, I think that's Fresh Air Incorporated. That's what the FAI stands for, KFAI, Fresh Air Incorporated. And they do, yeah, like I said, they do everything. And that's so I thought, well, why not put a local show on there that plays everything? Why do we have to, just have a country local show or a rock local show, jazz local? Let's do it all. We'll put hip hop in there. We'll put instrumental music. We'll put composers in there, and that's what we do. I try to get, it's a 2 hour show, and I try to get at least one from every genre on each episode. And it's also opened the door for me to meet a lot of new people that way too,
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
funny. It's funny how once you have the platform that's, making people famous, or at least giving the illusion of it, and not
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not, but people sometimes come on the podcast and think that they're gonna get a Joe Rogan bump, and you can't even get them to turn around and share the show with theirs. And it's like, this is a communal thing
yeah,
that the podcast
absolutely.
is. I
Yep,
want you on my show so that you go out and then share the episodes with your people. It's not about my audience. I don't have an audience. I only have 200 subscribers on YouTube.
yeah.
Like, so if you want no one to continue to listen to you, then sure, don't share your stuff,
Right,
but it's
right.
content for you. And I
Yeah.
think that's what that education process a little bit is lacking. And maybe I need to make some TikToks about that or something so people will catch on. You're
Right.
gonna laugh, but I just joined TikTok
Did you?
yesterday. I held
Okay.
out as long as I
Yeah.
could, and now that it's changed hands, and of course I was like, well, maybe I should get on, and then I did it like after the ban, and I was like, well, there goes that idea. Sweet, I don't have to worry about it. But now we're on there. I know people are seeing massive growth of new followers and new listeners, and just out there sharing themselves. So a lot
Good.
better algorithm over there to get people out there. We know how hard it can be on Facebook and Instagram and all these things. I struggle. I had a pretty decent following on Facebook that's helped me, but Facebook is a great networking tool with the groups. And I think more artists, to share a little bit of wisdom with you all, get in as many Facebook groups as you can, share your stuff, engage with people. Don't worry about just blasting all the time into these groups. Get in there and provide some value to what you're doing. Go comment on someone else and tell them how great they are. That's a much better way to make a friend than going, this is me and I'm this cool and I'm this, like, nobody cares, right?
Right.
We're so sick of it. And people are so kind of trained to not pay attention that you have to be engaging on a almost one-to-one level to bring in a fan. And who wouldn't? I mean, if you play shows to empty rooms or mostly empty rooms, then you're already making fans in that way. So why not do that online from the safety and comfort of your own home?
Yeah. And on a side note, which is similar to that, um, I even feel weird even just posting my own shows. I know I have to do it because, that's promotion. That's what you got to do. But it seems like when I post it, it's like I'm just trying from
Well,
the
you're not
outside. It looks like
posting you, Benjamin. You're posting 30 artists. You're going, hey,
exactly.
here's my 30 friends. These people are amazing. Oh my God, I love them.
Yeah.
And then tagging every single one of them in every post, right? I mean, I know
Right,
that's
right,
time
right.
consuming and it's hard to do, but there's
Yep.
AI for all this stuff now that's getting way better at it. And that's where I've been on this learning mission, right? I was a welder a year ago, Benjamin. I'm not a broadcaster. I mean, I am now, but I
Yep.
wasn't a broadcaster. I was a songwriter who saw a need and committed myself to doing it. The way this podcast started, Benjamin, was I became a member of the Midwest Country Music Organization last February. My friend Brad Morgan, who is a big ambassador of the program of the organization, and was like, look, if you're going to be in, you got to come to the awards show in Okoboji. It's only a 4 hour trip for me. And who doesn't like going to Boji? Granted, it's in
Right,
April, so there's not a lot to do there, but it's
right.
special to me. My wife and I honeymooned there. So
Nice.
just the place was very special. And getting to go and just hang out at jam night. I brought my microphones. Where is it? Oh, I don't know if I have it around. I have a Zoom P4, and it's just a little
Okay.
box about this big, plugs 4 XLRs in the back. I brought my 2 Zoom microphones. I didn't bring the 7B with me. That stays in the studio, but I have a couple of just little broadcast Zoom microphones, and we sat down and did 25 interviews that night. And then
Perfect.
15 of them were with nominees. So the next day I
Okay.
woke up and I went, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So I downloaded Podcastle and I chopped up the episode into bits. The interviews were much shorter, at the show because it was in a live setting, but you
Yeah,
can hear the
yeah,
music playing in the background, right? Interviewing guys like Joe Flip, and who is just
yeah,
absolutely blowing up in the Minnesota scene right now.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
blues guitar player.
Yep.
Fans of the show, if you don't know who he is, his name's just like it sounds. Joe Flip. Go look him up. He's blowing up theaters, playing killer blues music, which there's a resurgence of all of these old music that's coming in, right? I feel like we've lived through the cycle where electronic music has been dominant the last 20 years, that real musicianship and real songwriting, people are hungry for it, Benjamin. Would you speak to the same thing with what you're seeing on your program?
I mean, I hope so. I still see a lot of, and I'm not knocking that either because EDM, they got to have talent for that too. But yeah, I mean, I think there's probably starting to be a shift towards singer-songwriter stuff. Yeah, acoustic. Um, I mean, it goes in phases. It always has.
I would like to
Um,
see rock music that we like. I would like to see that make a comeback.
yeah, there's still some. I mean, Shinedown's great. There's still some artists that are doing really good rock stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's all this.
You
Uh,
listed one.
what's that?
I said you listed one. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Where
I mean, you
where
have.
30 years ago it was the
Oh,
top 40
right,
acts of the
right. Yeah,
world were
yeah.
all those
Oh,
bands.
yeah.
Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, Nine Inch Nails, right?
Yep,
All these
yep,
great
yep.
bands.
The
And
90s was great for
I
rock.
miss it, man.
Yeah,
Man, I miss it.
I agree. I mean, when Black Hole Sun came out, I'd never heard anything like it before, and I cover that song now, but it's like I thought, how can anybody even write this? This is amazing. What kind of a chord progression? Who would think of this? Back in the day. It was like, wow. So
I'm so sad that we lost Cornell before
yeah,
this resurgence, right? And
yeah.
we lost some really good people that would be just thriving in here. Even somebody like Tom Petty, right? Who would have
Oh
been
yeah,
the great grandfather of this scene now,
yeah.
that we don't have that. And in some ways it's left the door open, Benjamin, for guys like us to go, "Hey man, we remember a time when the
Hmm.
fans were unbelievable." And then they'd go out and they'd bring it live and kick your ass too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that's what rock music used to be about. And now, it's different. Like you said, Shinedown, probably, obviously the top of the heap there. But
Right.
it's about more than just the noise. It's about the emotion. And
Yeah.
that's what a guy like Cornell brought to
Oh yeah.
Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting back to. I think everyone has gone. Benjamin, we've been through a lot. Um,
Oh yeah.
and not just in the last 5 years, but our entire lives have been this crazy cycle of the world kind of forgetting what and who they were. And now I feel like there is a collective consciousness. The vibration is rising, and I don't think it's going to slow down. If anything, I think that it's accelerating right along with the speed of the Earth's rotation. I don't know if you know this now, but I keep up with some space weather news, and the days are actually not even 24 hours long right now. That we are actually below 24 hours and into like the 23 and 58-minute mark.
No
So
wonder I can't get anything done in a day.
you're just running out of time.
Yeah, I guess so. Seems like I can't get nothing done.
Yeah. Well, I think you're getting a lot done, and you're taking on a huge project with what you're doing and all of these shows. And I'm proud of you, man. I
Thank you.
commend you for the effort that you're putting in. I think it's amazing. I can't wait to collaborate with you, to hopefully send you some of my music, even though I'm not in South Dakota. I'm up there playing, 4 or 5 times a year at this point, and always supporting the Midwest, right? And I got an idea. The Midwest Country Music Organization is awesome, but I want to do something that's a little more inclusive.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make the Facebook page today, or the Facebook group today, and it's gonna be called Momo, the Midwest
Yeah,
Original Music Organization.
I
And I
like
don't
it.
know when I'll be able to turn it into a 501, but that's the goal, and to
Yeah,
support all of this music, just like what you're doing with your show. So, brother, we're gonna be working together a lot
yeah.
more now that we're connected and we've gotten a chance to meet each other. Where we go from here is straight past the moon and into the stars, buddy.
I like it. Another one too that's doing good work is the North Star Original
Oh
Review.
yeah. Oh, good
Yeah,
friends. I'm actually on their
yeah,
show. So a
yeah.
little shameless plug for me. April
Right.
3rd, I will be
Yep.
at the Big Wood Brewery Showcase. Samantha Grimes is going to be there. I think my buddy Xander's on that show too. If not, he's playing with me the next night at Sherwood Lounge. We
Yep.
are doing our own showcase on April 2nd at River Rock Studios. So, brother, I'm trying to come up there and not dominate, but to have a footprint in Minnesota and in the Minneapolis
For sure.
St. Paul scene. So, love what you're doing. Go ahead. Can you plug everything for us one more time before I let you get out of here?
Absolutely. So, for the radio side of things, the current local show I'm doing is Everything Minnesota Music. It's on KFAI 90.3 FM in Minneapolis. Also streams online at kfai.org. I'm doing the rock thing on the Rockin' 101 in St. Cloud, just a local show. It's not a local show, but it's just a show on the local station there. I'm doing my own music, solo stuff, duo stuff, full band stuff, playing 2 to 3 times a week between all three of those and just staying busy with that.
What
And
was
I'm
the name of the
actually
band? Name of the band one more
Empire
time.
Benjamin Raye and the Empire Players.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm going to be at that April 3rd show too, North Star show, playing there that night too at
Oh,
Bigwood
get out
Brewery.
of town.
I'm going to be there. So
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah,
Well, I'm looking forward to playing with you, man. I think so
absolutely.
what I like to do and what we've really unlocked with our showcase shows is that we're filming all these. And if all the artists can maybe contribute a little bit, it helps pay for it all. But I got some great producers that are
Okay.
with us, some great videographers that have made our stuff look really awesome. And yeah, that's where I'm trying to turn Corey over into the business of it and be like, hey, buddy, you got something valuable here. You've built it up to this
Sure.
point. Artists will pay $100 to walk away with their 3 songs in tow, and bringing the price down on the backside of that has kind of been what I'm working on is how do we get it shot? Because these videographers sometimes want to be like, well, we'll do it for like $4,000, and you're like, that's not happening. But a
Right.
thousand bucks divided by 7 or 8 people, well,
Yeah.
now we're talking something that's a lot more attainable for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't mind putting my own money into stuff too, right? And then
Right.
eventually we're going to find sponsors like a radio station would, and we're going to be able to fund all of this and to just take it to the next level and then be able to give this footage to our artists for nothing. And that's really the goal of what I'm trying to build. And maybe that's what Momo becomes.
I like it. Great idea. And yeah, I'll help in any way I can.
I don't think you have a choice at this point, Ben.
Okay.
Brother, thank you for being part of the scene.
Thanks for having me, man.